Once upon a time, when mighty kings held tight reins over their kingdoms and dreamed of building vast empires, a new force quietly emerged in the lands of Iran. These were the Persians, mentioned in ancient Syrian writings as the Parsa, along with other tribes like the Medians and Babylonians. They lived under Syrian rule for a long time, until around 609 BC, when they rose up in a massive revolt, shaking the very foundations of the Assyrian Empire. It was during this tumultuous time that a legendary figure, the first Persian king named Achaemenes, stepped into history. He laid the groundwork for what would become one of the mightiest empires of the ancient world, the Achaemenid Empire. Among the various Persian tribes, the Achaemenids stood out as the most formidable. They spent years asserting their dominance over smaller tribes and expanding their territories, yet they still remained under the shadow of the Median Empire. Then, in 559 BC, a remarkable leader named Cyrus II, known to history as Cyrus the Great, ascended the Persian throne. This marked a turning point in Persian history as Cyrus began to shape the destiny of his people and pave the way for a new era of power and influence. Cyrus the Great's journey to power was filled with twists and turns. Legend has it, according to the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, the Histories, Book 1, that Cyrus's own grandfather, Astyages, had a troubling dream. In this dream, he saw baby Cyrus growing up to become the ruler of all Asia. Terrified of losing his own authority, Astyages ordered his butler to take the infant Cyrus to the mountains and end his life. But fate had other plans. The butler, unable to carry out such a cruel act, handed the baby over to a shepherd instead. When Astyages discovered this, he was furious and ordered the butler's son to be killed. As Cyrus grew, he eventually returned to his homeland, revealing his true identity and gaining the support of the people. With their backing, he overthrew Astyages, claiming his rightful place on the throne. Remarkably, he spared his grandfather's life, showing both strength and mercy. Cyrus's reign was marked by expansion and conquest. Under his leadership, the Persians conquered the capital of the Lydian Empire, Sardis, establishing their rule over vast territories abundant in resources. Yet challenges loomed on the horizon. The Greeks, settled in Anatolia, formed the Kingdom of Lydia and refused to bow to Persian rule. Initially, they underestimated the Persian forces, believing their own cavalry to be superior. However, they soon faced a rude awakening. The Persians, with their skilled horse and camel-mounted archers, proved to be formidable opponents. In a surprising turn of events, the Persians triumphed over the Greeks and Lydia fell under Cyrus's control. According to the Babylonian Chronicle, a clay tablet recording major events in Mesopotamia, Cyrus captured Babylon in 539 BC. The Babylonians, tired of the oppressive rule of King Nabonidus, welcomed the Persians as liberators. Not only did they restore order in Babylon, but they also freed the Jews who had been held captive there, putting an end to the famous period of Babylonian captivity. After Cyrus the Great's conquests, Judea became a close friend of the Persians. Their land acted like a shield, protecting against the Egyptians. The Persians also got along well with the Phoenicians, who were fantastic sailors and traders. Cyrus wasn't just a strong leader, he had a kind heart too. Even when he defeated his enemies, he forgave them and sometimes even gave them important jobs. He respected the beliefs of the people he conquered. But one of his most remarkable acts was ending slavery. This was a big deal because in those days slavery was a common thing. To solidify his reforms, Cyrus issued the Cyrus Cylinder, a clay cylinder inscribed with Akkadian cuneiform script. This document is considered the first declaration of human rights, advocating for religious tolerance and justice for all. Under Persian rule, many folks were happier and lived better lives. Cyrus managed to keep peace among lots of different cultures, which was pretty rare back then. That's why they called him the later Shepherd King. When Cyrus died in 530 BC, his empire was huge. It covered parts of Asia, Africa, and Europe, making it one of the largest in history. The Persians were fearsome warriors, known for their strong horses and skilled archers. They even had a special breed of horse just for battle. Growing up, Persians learned 3 important things: writing, archery, and honesty. Lying or being dishonest could get you in big trouble, sometimes even killed. but those who told the truth and acted honorably were greatly respected. In battles, the Persians had a secret weapon, archers. The Behistun inscription, a multilingual inscription carved by Darius the Great on a cliff face in western Iran, depicts Persian archers in action. Whether on horseback or on foot, they were deadly accurate. They also used camels cleverly, as the sight and smell of these big animals scared the enemy's horses. With their courage, skill, and clever tactics, the Persians built an empire that left a mark on history. The Persian army was a melting pot of different cultures, with soldiers hailing from various lands like Persia, Media, Phoenicia, Chaldea, Egypt, and even Greece. Among them were the elite warriors known as the Immortals, a fearsome force of 10,000 highly trained men who served as the royal guard. Dressed in colorful clothing and heavy armor, armed with spears, bows, and arrows, they fought with discipline and bravery, never wavering in the face of danger. When one fell in battle, another swiftly took their place, giving the impression of an army that couldn't be defeated. To govern their vast empire, the Persians maintained multiple capitals, with Persepolis standing out as the most magnificent. Built by King Darius I, Persepolis was a sprawling city covering over 125,000 square meters, with towering palace walls reaching up to 20 meters high. What's truly remarkable is that it was constructed by free laborers who were paid according to their role in the building process. The Persian people followed the religion of Zoroastrianism, founded by the prophet Zarathustra. It was the first monotheistic religion in history, believing in a divine paradise, hell, and Messiah, as well as resurrection and a final judgment. Even today, some people in Iran and India still worship this ancient faith. By 499 BC, the Persian Empire had grown unbelievably large, but with such vast territory came numerous problems. One of the biggest challenges came from the Greek cities in Macedonia, Thrace, and Lydia, which rebelled constantly. The Greeks, proud of their freedom, fought fiercely to defend their city-states. King Darius I, a great ruler of Persia, aimed to conquer all of Greece. However, to do so, he'd have to cross the Black Sea with his massive army, a journey that would take many months and give the Greeks time to fortify their defenses. To solve the problem of crossing the Black Sea to reach Greece, the Persians came up with a clever plan. They built a massive bridge connecting Anatolia to Europe at a place called the Bosphorus Strait. It was a remarkable feat, and according to the historian Herodotus, King Darius I managed to march about 70,000 to 80,000 Persian soldiers across this bridge. Despite some victories in Macedonia, Darius faced difficulties against the Greeks. He planned to retreat to Persia and gather more soldiers, but sadly he passed away before he could fulfill his dream. His son, Xerxes I, then took the throne and continued his father's ambition. Xerxes was a famous king, the son of Darius and Queen Atossa, and the grandson of Cyrus the Great. In the Old Testament, he's known as Ahasuerus, and he famously married Esther, who was of Jewish origin. Under Xerxes' reign, the war against the Greeks escalated, known in history as the Greco-Persian Wars. Epic battles like Marathon, Thermopylae, Salamis, and Plataea took place. At Thermopylae, Xerxes faced King Leonidas and his 300 Spartans, along with 6,000 Greeks from various cities. Though they defeated the Spartans, Xerxes and his army managed to sack Athens in retaliation for Greek resistance. Enraged by the Greek stubbornness, Xerxes ordered Athens to be burned, despite it being against Persian custom to harm conquered cities and their people. However, the next day, regretting his actions, Xerxes had Athens rebuilt. In response to the Persian attack, the Greeks, led by the Athenian general Themistocles, assembled a mighty fleet of ships. They destroyed the Persian ships, forcing Xerxes to retreat to his territories to avoid being trapped in Greece. Xerxes returned to Persia, devastated by the loss of men and the missed opportunity to conquer Greece. He was later murdered in 465 BC in a political conspiracy. After Xerxes' death, the Persians abandoned their attempts to conquer Greece, which likely saved much of Europe from falling under Persian rule. Despite years of battles and turbulent successions, not everything was well in the Persian Empire. The Egyptians, who were under Persian rule, revolted, sparking unrest in many other kingdoms as well. Until 336 BC, the Persian Empire was ruled by King Darius III. But in 304 BC, Alexander the Great, a powerful leader from Macedonia, set out on a campaign to conquer territories that once belonged to the Persians. After years of battles, King Darius III was defeated by Alexander at the Battle of Issus and fled with his family to the city of Ecbatana. Alexander continued his conquest, eventually capturing the magnificent city of Persepolis. Although Alexander preferred peace, chaos erupted in the Persian cities under Greek control. Persepolis was sacked and burned, and similar destruction occurred in Pasargadae. Legend has it that when Alexander visited the tomb of Cyrus the Great in Pasargadae, he was dismayed to find it desecrated, likely by Persian priests. Outraged, he had Cyrus's tomb rebuilt and punished those responsible. Meanwhile, the ruler of Ecbatana betrayed King Darius III, leading to his assassination. With his death, the line of Persian kings known as the Achaemenid Empire came to an end. Despite being enemies, Alexander held a grand funeral for Darius III and punished those involved in his assassination. While some portrayals in popular culture depict the Persians as cruel invaders, historians recognize their sophistication, especially in social and governmental systems. The Persians established a complex network of roads and postal systems to connect their vast empire. They also implemented a standardized system of weights and measurements, simplifying trade across their domains. The Persians were also tolerant of different religions and cultures within their empire. While they promoted Zoroastrianism, they allowed conquered peoples to continue practicing their own faiths. This tolerance helped to maintain peace and stability throughout the empire for centuries. The legacy of the Persian Empire is vast and continues to influence the world today. Their architectural marvels like Persepolis stand as testaments to their engineering and artistic skill. Their innovations in road systems and communication remain foundational concepts in modern infrastructure. Perhaps most importantly, the Persians established a precedent for a multicultural empire that valued a degree of religious tolerance. This concept continues to be relevant as the world grapples with issues of globalization and cultural diversity. The rise and fall of the Persian Empire is a story filled with ambition, conflict, and cultural exchange. It serves as a reminder of the impermanence of empires and the enduring impact of great civilizations.